Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, our group will be presenting about Mudarabah, which is a famous topic usually being discussed in Islamic banking and finance subject. Um, alright, table of contents. Alright, definition. Definition of Mudarabah. It comes from the Arabic term of al-dab and al-ard, which is traveling through the land. Mudarabah is actually a form of business contract between a capital provider, also known as Rabul Mal, and an entrepreneur, also known as Mudarib. And from Hanafi and Hanbali scholars, it also known as Mukarada, and in Maliki and Shafi'i scholars viewpoint, it is also known as Kirat.
Okay, next we will be talking about the nature of Mudarabah. So Mudarabah in nature is a contract based on a fiduciary relationship. An entrepreneur manages the Mudarabah asset in trust and is not liable for the impairment of the asset.
Mudarabah can be one of two types, which are either unrestricted Mudarabah or restricted Mudarabah. Unrestricted Mudarabah is a contract which in Rabbul Mal give the right to an Mudarib to manage Mudarabah capital without specific restriction, while the restricted Mudarabah is Mudarabah that has certain limit imposed by Rabbul Mal. Yes.
Next, we are going to talk about the contracting parties. So the contracting parties in Mudarabah, Rabul Mal, and a Mudarib. So both of them must be a natural person or a legal entity who should have the legal capacity to enter into Mudarabah contract, including the capacity to perform an agency, or we call it wakala in Arab, agency contract either as a principal or as an agent. And contracting parties in Mudarabah contract may involve one or more than one Mudarib or Rabul Mal. So in the case of Mudarabah involving more than one Rabul Mal, the agreement among the Rabul Mal may be established whereby first, an existing Rabul Mal agrees to relinquish his right over a certain portion of the profit if he withdraws from the Mudarabah prior to its maturity date. And the second one, a new Rabul Mal agrees to assume liability in respect of Mudarabah, which is already in operation prior to his participation. And any terms or conditions in the Mudarabah contract have been mutually agreed upon between the Rabul Mal and Mudarib, and do not contravene the Sharia law, and the Sharia shall be binding on both parties. And any of the contract parties have the right to terminate the contract unilaterally, except in the following conditions. The first condition is the Mudarib has commenced the work relating to the management of the capital of the Rabul Mal. Or the second one is the contracting parties have agreed to enter into Mudarabah contract for a specified time. And the last one is the contracting parties have agreed not to terminate the Mudarabah contract within a specific time. And the contracting parties may mutually agree to change the type of Mudarabah they have entered to another type of Mudarabah at any point in time.
Alright, we will proceed with offer, which is ijab, and the acceptance, which is kabul. A Mudarabah contract shall be entered into by an offer and acceptance between a Rabul Mal, the capital provider, and a Mudarib, the entrepreneur. The offer and acceptance may be expressed either verbally or in writing, or through any other methods which could be evidenced by appropriate documentation or any record.
Next, we'll be going to the management aspect of Mudarabah. So the Mudarib has the right to manage the Mudarabah venture, and they are also responsible for ensuring that the Mudarabah venture is undergoing proper management and acts in the interest of the capital provider. So their mandate is provided under the terms and conditions of the contract, which is set beforehand. The Mudarib, provided they have the consent of the Rabbul Mal, they are allowed to assign the Mudarabah capital under the management to another Mudarib in another Mudarabah, also known as a Mudarib, or to a specific agent, also known as a Wakil. A Rabbul Mal cannot be involved in managing the Mudarabah venture, but has a right of access to any reasonable venture regarding the Mudarabah venture itself.
We go for capital. The capital is asset provided by Rabbul Mal to a Mudarib for purpose of a Mudarabah venture. The capital shall be provided by the Rabbul Mal and managed by the Mudarib. Capital may be in form of cash or in kind, including intangible asset. All form of debt shall not qualify as capital, including account receivable. All remaining capital returned to Rabbul Mal upon dissolution of the Mudarabah contract, and the capital may be fully or partially disbursed as per the terms of the Mudarabah contract.
So next we are going to talk about the profit. So the profit sharing is the primary motive of Mudarabah contract. So therefore, it's a fundamental component of the contract. And Mudarabah profit is the value created over and above the capital, which is determined based on the methodology acceptable by the market convention of practice. A Mudarib shall not guarantee any profit. Rabbul Mal and Mudarib shall share profit based on a ratio mutually agreed between them, and the profit share ratio shall be determined at the time of entering into Mudarabah contract. And the profit share ratio may be revised during the tenure of the Mudarabah contract, and a revision of the profit share ratio shall be mutually agreed by the Rabbul Mal and the Mudarib. The Mudarabah contract shall not stipulate a predetermined fixed amount of profit to one contracting party which deprive the profit share of the other contracting party. The profit should not be fixed in the form of certain percentage of the capital, and the ex-post performance profit amount may be translated into a fixed percentage yield of the capital. In a multi-tiered Mudarabah, two or more profit sharing arrangement may be agreed upon. In the first tier, a Rabbul Mal and Mudarib may agree on a certain profit sharing ratio, whilst in the second tier, the Rabbul Mal and the other Mudarib may agree on another profit sharing ratio. Such arrangement may apply to the following tier respectively. The profit generated in each tier shall be shared according to the respective profit sharing ratio. Where a Mudarib commingles or injects his own funds into the Mudarabah venture, the Mudarib is entitled to the profit based on his capital contribution in the commingle fund, and the remaining profit shall then be distributed based on the profit sharing ratio in the Mudarabah contract. The Rabbul Mal and the Mudarib may agree on profit sharing ratio based on the specified profit threshold. In the event that the actual profit is equivalent or below the threshold, the profit shall be shared based on the agreed profit sharing ratio. Or the actual profit exceeds the threshold, the assessment may be distributed based on different profit sharing ratio agreed by parties or paid to any of the contracting parties. And then all Mudarib shall share the Mudarib profit portion as per the agreed terms. Profit shall be recognized based on the following methodology. First, profit realized basis by actual liquidation of asset of Mudarabah partnership or construct. The second one, constructive basis according to acceptable profit recognition method. The reserve, the profit shall be distributed on the maturity of Mudarabah venture or at an agreed period. And a realized gain recognized during the Mudarabah tenure shall be recognized as profit, be included in profit or loss calculation for Mudarabah. The Mudarib is only entitled to the profit for works which are integral to the Mudarabah venture and shall not earn any additional fee for such works. The reserve shall only be created from the profit. In the case where profit reserve is utilized to cover depletion of the capital, only profit portion of Rabbul Mal in the reserve shall be utilized. The contract parties may agree to a condition whereby a Rabul Mal may be subject to lower or no profit payment if the capital is withdrawn before the maturity of the Mudarabah venture.
Alright, just now we just said about the profit in a Mudarabah system, and now I would like to talk about the loss in Mudarabah. Loss shall be borne by the Rabul Mal up to the capital value, and a Mudarib shall not be liable for any impairment of an asset unless such loss is due to the Mudarib's misconduct, or in the Arabic terms is which is known as ta'addi or negligence, taksir, or breach of specified terms, mukhalafa al-shurut of the contract. In the case of any loss, the Mudarib shall furnish the reason for the occurrence of the loss. In the case of multiple Rabul Mal in a single Mudarabah or a multiple capital provider in a single Mudarabah, the loss shall be borne by each Rabul Mal proportionate to his capital contribution, same as the PSR sharing ratio. In the case where a Mudarib commingles or injects his own fund to a Mudarabah venture, the loss shall be borne based on the proportion of the Mudarib's capital contribution in the commingled fund.
Okay, last but not least, we will talk about the dissolution of the Mudarabah itself. So the dissolution is a unilateral termination by any of the parties in the absence of any prohibitive circumstances. Essentially, if the contract has no specific circumstances that make it otherwise, as long as they want to, they can dissolve the Mudarabah at will. So unilateral termination by any of the parties due to misconduct, negligence, or breach of specified terms of a contract by the other. This is if it's in the contract, they can terminate should the other party fail to meet the conditions. So this is required. What's required to have a dissolution Mudarabah is mutual agreement between both parties, or otherwise it's not allowed. Okay, thank you for your time. I hope you've learned something from the presentation, and thank you for your time.